Now on a special edition of KGW News, chaos erupts outside of a Portland gas station after police exchange gunfire with a suspect.
He wouldn't get out, and then when he did open the door, he had a gun in his hand, and they shot him.
Plus, a federal lawmaker is calling attention to a Portland family detained by ICE after a mother is separated from her children.
Absolutely absurd that we are detaining a woman who wants to go back to her country.
And another lawmaker calling out federal budget cuts by the Trump administration, as well as threats to deploy the military.
Portland is not what the president says it is.
And we first bring you breaking news out of New Hampshire. Police say multiple people are hurt following a shooting at a country club in Nashua. Police do say there is a person in custody they believe to be the shooter. It happened earlier today at Sky Meadow Country Club. Police said the scene is still an active investigation, but there is no further danger to the public. Information on the conditions of the victims was not immediately available. Now to our top story here locally. A suspect is in the hospital after police shot him outside of a Southeast Portland gas station this morning. Investigators say the man also fired at police. Catherine Cook walks us through what happened.
It was pretty crazy, you know.
Saturday morning, police shut down Southeast 122nd and Division after a shooting at this gas station involving a suspect and officers.
I heard like a lot of gunshots and like people screaming.
Around 9:15, police say officers surrounded this Nissan and challenged the man inside.
He was a white man with tattoos.
He wouldn't get out, and then when he did open the door, he had a gun in his hand.
During that stop, there was an exchange of gunfire.
Sergeant Kevin Allen says no officers were hurt, but the suspect was hit. Police began first aid before paramedics arrived and took him to the hospital.
At this point, the injuries to the suspect appear to be non-life-threatening.
Police recovered this gun from the suspect's car, and they found bullet holes in a patrol car and a private vehicle. They also interviewed a woman they say was in the suspect's car at the time, describing her as a witness.
Police tell us this whole thing started here at a different gas station on Southeast 84th and Foster. An attendant told officers the suspect threatened them with a gun before taking off.
I believe this was outstanding police work, and we had officers that were looking all around the precinct and their patrol areas for the suspect vehicle, and it really paid off.
For people who live and work in the neighborhood, it's still frustrating.
It's sad that this is happening. Very sad. We've got to do something soon.
It's very unfortunate whenever you have gunfire in our city streets, and it's something that we take seriously, and we really want to make sure the public knows that we go above and beyond to make sure these are investigated fully.
And as the red tape flutters, so do emotions.
There were a lot of people around when this happened.
But on this day, no one else was hit.
Yeah, it's a crazy world we live in.
In Southeast Portland,
Yeah.
Catherine Cook, KGW News.
Well, turning now to weather, we were treated to an absolutely beautiful final Saturday of summer with blue skies all afternoon and temperatures in the low 80s for much of us here in the metro area. But things could look a whole lot different by Sunday morning. Meteorologist Joe Ranieri is here to let us know when we might see some rain. Joe?
Hey, let's just say tomorrow's going to be kind of a good day to maybe cook up a little stew, get the crock pot going, because we're going to be looking at some heavy showers by the time Sunday morning rolls around. Like you said, it's the last day of summer. Fall officially kicks off on Monday morning. So we'll be looking at those showers, heavy at times. Basically, right around 2, 4 o'clock in the morning is when those showers will start to arrive. Heaviest will be about 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, and then poof, they're gone by 10:30, 11 o'clock or so. So looking into the afternoon, sunny and cool. And as we look into the first full week of fall, starting on Monday, we are going to be looking at some pleasant conditions, but we're already starting to see some clouds increase as this cold front starts to move on shore. So here's a look at what you're going to be running into. Like I said, between 2 and 4 in the morning, those showers will really pick up along the Oregon coast, yellows and oranges. So you can kind of tell just how wet this front is going to be for the first part of the day. And then by 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, it starts to move over the Cascades, and then it will be mainly dry by the early part of the afternoon. Daytime highs were in the low 80s. Well, tomorrow we're going to be looking at daytime highs about 10 degrees cooler from what we saw earlier this afternoon. We'll talk more about your detailed forecast and what you can expect to see for the first part of fall coming up.
All right, Joe, thank you. Portland police continue to investigate a shooting in the Montevilla neighborhood. We've learned 2 people were hurt, though both are expected to survive. Now, this all happened around 8 o'clock last night near Southeast 82nd and Harrison. A witness told us he heard dozens of gunshots and says this happened during a vigil for a person who was killed on Thursday in that exact same location.
And very loud, and it was rapid fire, one a second. And then I heard women screaming, and then another round of bullets, and then police and fire showed up.
So far, there's no word on any suspects or arrests. New tonight, Washington State Police are investigating after a police chase ends with a suspect getting hit and killed by a car. It started just after midnight when Kelso police saw a car driving erratically and swerving into oncoming traffic. The driver, 27-year-old William Netz from Missouri, refused to pull over, eventually getting on I-5 North, where he got into a crash with a semi. He left his car and was hit while trying to cross southbound I-5 on foot. Netz was pronounced dead on scene. And in Oregon, state police are investigating a crash involving a wrong-way driver that left one person dead. It happened around 3:50 this morning near I-84 near Corbett. When Corbett Fire arrived, they found one car fully engulfed in flames. First responders pulled the driver out of that car and took them to the hospital with serious injuries. The driver of the second car was pronounced dead on scene. In an update tonight, we're learning more about a Portland mother and grandmother arrested at the Canadian border and who've been sitting in ICE detention for months. Now, this began at the end of June when the Merlos family went to the Peace Arch Park on the Canadian border. The mom, Jackie, originally from Honduras, and her 4 young American-born children were then detained for weeks before lawmakers and lawyers stepped in. Alma McCarty looks into the attention their case is getting at the national level.
My name is Mimi Letnich. I'm an entrepreneur, a wife, and a mother of 2 sons. Today I'm here to talk about another mother, my dear friend Jackie.
For the past 2 months, Mimi Letnich has been the caregiver of Jackie Merlo's 4 children.
9-year-old triplets, Carlos, David, and Abby, and their 7-year-old little brother, Jeffrey.
They came to stay with her in her Portland home following a trip up to Peace Arch Park to picnic with family earlier this summer. A trip that would end in detention for Merlos, her husband, and her mother, visiting from Honduras.
As they said goodbye, agents moved in and arrested them.
Customs and Border Protection claimed Merlos had been attempting to, quote, smuggle illegal aliens into the U.S. and said initially the children remained with the mother at her request in Border Patrol custody. 2 weeks after their disappearance, Letnich, with the assistance of Congresswoman Maxine Dexter, located Merlos and her U.S.-born children. Dexter walked into the CBP facility, she said, to see them praying.
I cannot describe what that impression left on me. These 4 small children in probably a 10 by 10 windowed cell, soundproof glass, gray cement bench that they were kneeling on with thin mats on the floor and a toilet in the corner. It is absolutely insane that this is what we have done to this family.
Letnich, able to retrieve the children mid-July, shared with lawmakers some of what they told her.
Agents interrogated the children without Jackie. They were asked, where did they live? Did they have any money? Did they have relatives? Did they have a father? Shortly thereafter, ICE took their dad. The children believe that was their fault.
She says in the car back to Portland, the kids gave her a coloring book with a message from her friend.
Jackie had written me a note in the inside cover. Mimi, thank you for everything. Hopefully this will be over soon. I will miss my babies. Please take care of them. This is so hard.
Alma McCarty, KGW News.
Congresswoman Susan Bonamici, who represents Oregon's 1st District, stopped by the Portland State University Farmers Market today. She spoke to vendors about the importance of fresh fruits and vegetables being available, specifically how SNAP and the double-up food bucks help families afford it. Her visit was also in response to the Trump administration's Big Beautiful Bill passed in July. SNAP will see cuts of more than $500 million over the next 2 years. Their cuts, Bonamici says, Portland families heavily rely on.
I call it the big ugly bill because I don't see much beautiful about it because as costs go up, people need to be able to access the healthy food. So it's about public health, it's about supporting our farmers, and it's about in the United States of America, no one should be hungry.
Bonamici also responded to President Trump's most recent public comments about Portland, in which he apparently renewed his promise to send National Guard troops to the Rose City.
Of course, we have challenges like any urban area does, and we're working with our state and local officials and community groups. And look at this thriving community right here. This is far from a hellhole.
At this point, it's unclear if the president intends to follow through. New tonight, a weekend of celebrations continued today for a couple of local theaters. Moreland Theater and Cinema 21 are both celebrating their 100th anniversary. Through Sunday, Moreland Theater is hosting a series of free movie screenings and discounted concessions, but the celebration is also part fundraiser. Their main goal is to restore the theater's iconic marquee so it can shine bright once again.
I am a huge evangelist for the importance of movie theaters. They have persisted for a long time, and they are one of our few, accessible third spaces that we have left. And I truly believe that the best way to see a movie is on the big screen.
The Laurelhurst celebrated its 100th anniversary last year, and the Hollywood Theater will reach that milestone next year.